Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. For anyone who is new here, my name is Nicola White. I'm a London mudlark with a creative permit issued by the Port of London Authority. As well as mudlarking, my creative permit allows me to create artwork from my non-historically significant Thames mudlarking finds. I'm passionate about searching for London's lost history in the mud of the River Thames. There are so many stories to discover, and that's why I love to think of the Thames as a giant liquid storybook. Join me as I search the Thames foreshore at low tide for objects lost or thrown in the river, sometimes centuries ago.
It's such a beautiful day today. Come along with me and let's see what we're going to find. Nice Victorian era pipe, probably dating to about 1840 or so. It's got a nice little maker's mark there, and that black will fade back to its original colour within a few hours. I think I've just found a cannonball, just sitting here on the rocks. Look, it's perfectly round. Looks very much like one would imagine a cannonball to look like. What do you think? It looks a very similar size to one that I found in the past actually, which is unfortunately crumbling to bits in my studio because I didn't soak it in fresh water for long enough. Oh, it's certainly heavy. I will give it a little rinse and take a look, but I don't think I'm taking it, to be honest. I don't need a cannonball. Who does, I suppose? And it's so heavy, I have to walk around with that in my rucksack. So I'll just give it a rinse, have a look at it, and I'll put it back at the top of the foreshore. And I might be coming back anyway later in the week. And if I've changed my mind, I can pick it up there if nobody else has found it. There we go. Looks like a cannonball to me. I've just spied something over here which looks like a fairly long clay pipe. Oh, it's always exciting, you know. Look, here it is. We can tell that it's a 1700s clay pipe. This one looks great. It's got a nice bit of length to it. It's been snugly protected by the mud and these two stones. Look at that. It's still amazing though, isn't it, that these pipes survive like this for so long. Let's ease it out of its little home where it's been for a very long time. And there it is, absolutely perfect, look. Absolutely perfect, and last touched by somebody probably around maybe 1720, 1730, 40. Pretty certain that that's early 1700s. So over 300 years ago. What a different world it has resurfaced into. Welcome to the 21st century. Right, I've seen what definitely looks like a coin down here, unless it's a pebble masquerading as a coin. It's behind this rock. Let's see if I'm right. It looks pretty smooth, so we might not have much detail on it. It's just here. It looks like an old penny. And I think that's probably what it is, but it's really wafer thin. Like a wafer thin mint. Almost completely dissolved. It's so light. I wonder how long that's been washing around. A long time. But at some point, that was a coin. I'm going to show you something I've found here, which is quite intriguing. Now, somehow or other, quite by chance, I noticed that on this piece of, well, what I thought was slate at first, I noticed some lettering. I don't know if you can see it there. Let me put a bit of water on it so it's easier to see. There's ING there. And then I picked up another piece right next to it, here, and look, there are some more inscriptions on it, and they fit together. And there's also a tiny bit here. So look, I've actually got the whole piece here which fits together. Now, what does that come from? I mean, a gravestone springs to mind. I'm going to have a look and see if I can find any other pieces. But firstly, what does this actually say? So that's THR. Something. It looks like TH. Is that no. TIR. Something ING. ID. Something there, and then some different styled lettering down here. Oh my goodness me, that is very intriguing, and now I'm going to be desperately wanting to know what the whole thing says. There's an S there as well, sterling. Sterling. So we've got sterling there. Well, well, well. The problem is that this place is vast, so searching for bits of slate with lettering on is like looking for a needle in a haystack, and actually there's quite a lot of this purpley slate around, so this could take a while. It's a bit of a challenge, and I've got to be honest, I don't think that on this occasion I'm going to be successful. I think it's going to be one of those things that I might find by chance on another visit down here. The other piece could be miles away. You won't believe this, but now that I'm searching for slate with lettering on it, I've just seen down here some slate with a swirly design on it. I mean, it's not from the piece that I've found, but how odd. How odd is that? Maybe there's more of this down here than I ever thought. Maybe this whole place is made up of broken gravestones. Look at this. There's like a swirly design on that piece. There you go, look. How interesting. It's funny how your eye tunes in to certain things when you're looking for certain things, isn't it? Now down here I can see a pair of legs. See them there? So let's find out who is on the end of the pair of legs. There's also a ribbon. Maybe they're attached to the ribbon, which is tied to this big piece of cement. Could this be a deliberate drowning? Oh my goodness, do I really want to see this actually? I'm not sure. Ooh. Blimey. Oh my goodness. Well, I'm not quite sure what to make of that. There's a very nasty looking monster. And what looks like a Power Ranger. And it's deliberately tied to this concrete thing. And it looks rather nasty. Particularly this horrible beast here, which looks kind of homemade. Now, what do you make of that? I'm not quite sure what I make of that. Do you think I should rescue the Power Ranger, or should I leave this well alone? Well, okay, clearly this is good, that is evil. So I'm not going to leave the Power Ranger to a horrible fate stuck underneath there. I'm going to rescue him. So I'll be back when I have managed to untangle him from this very strange monster. See you in a sec. Mission accomplished. I have freed the Power Ranger from the grips of this rather gruesome looking Thames monster, who I'm going to leave firmly attached here so that he can do no more evil deeds. And you, Power Ranger, are now free. Good has triumphed over evil. And you can come home with me to the Tideline Art Thames Lost Toy Orphanage, where you can regale your new friends with what I'm sure is a very captivating story. And you can stay there. What's this? Oh, that looks interesting. Oh, look. You can see some little stones there. That looks like a little brooch or something. Completely bent in the middle. I'll pop that in my bag and see if I can unbend it at home without snapping it. But yes, definitely some kind of brooch with two little surviving gems in it there, probably paste gems. I imagine this is Victorian or Georgian. I'm still searching desperately for the purple slate. No luck yet. I think it may take a very long time to find it. And to be honest, like I said, I probably won't find it. started to rain. Lovely. And as I'm walking back to the car, because the tide is on the way in and I'm getting wet, I've seen something eroding out of the mud just here. It looks like a little figurine. What can it be? And will it be in one piece? Ooh, what is that? Well, it's not in one piece, but we might be able to get an idea of what it was. It looks like an animal, possibly playing a musical instrument. Yes! Look at that. Oh, that's hilarious. I don't know. The things you find down on the river. You find Power Rangers captured by monsters. And now you find dogs with eye patches on playing a tuba. Is it a tuba? Well, well, well. Whatever next. Looks like a bulldog, doesn't it? With an eye patch. Sitting on a chair, playing a tuba. I see something pretty down here. Just here. Now I wonder what's on the other side, or maybe it's some kind of mount. And it's going to be completely blank. Oh, look at that. Oh, that is so pretty. What is it, I wonder? Maybe something that's come off of a little box or some furniture. That is very pretty. I'm happy with that. Lovely. Thank you, River Thames. Okay everyone, I just spotted a bit of pipe stem down here and I was pretty certain it was just going to be a stem. So I just gave it a little tug just to check, and I believe it is more than a stem. So let's have a look. Ooh, look at that! That is an absolute beaut. And not only is it a beautiful pipe, but I can tell that there is a maker. I think there's a maker on there. Let's go and give it a little rinse. Oh, that's an unexpected surprise. It's been a little while since I've had a nice pipe extraction. Right, let's have a look. Woo! Oh yeah, that's lovely. Yeah, I'm pretty certain there's a maker on there. So I will take a closer look at that when I get home. But just look at that, a really lovely decorated 19th century pipe, mid-19th century. That's absolutely stunning.
Hi everyone, thank you very much indeed for watching. It's great to see you all here as always. And how are you doing? How's your week going? What have you been getting up to? I hope that all is well in your world, wherever you're watching from. I have been having a pretty good week. We had some very hot weather, and in fact I went out mudlarking on one of those very, very hot days, and honestly we were just totally melting. And whilst I was out on the foreshore, I was there with my friends Val and Christine. Christine gave me this absolutely beautiful glass panel that she made by hand herself out of coloured glass that she has picked up along the River Thames. She's honestly so talented, and so I really wanted to share a picture of this beautiful glass panel. And you'll notice that next to the glass panel in one of the photographs is my little fox. And so yes, my fox is still coming to have her supper every night, and actually she has cubs now, and I'm very much hoping that at some point I'm going to meet them. You never know, I hope so. I deserve to meet them. I've been giving her chicken wings for so long. I hope she comes along and they all line up on the windowsill and I can say hello to them. Anyway, I digress. Let's have a chat about some of these finds which are sitting here in front of me. What was your favourite find? For me, I think it's got to be a toss-up between this little bulldog with an eye patch sitting on a chair playing a tuba and the slate thing that I'm going to tell you about in a minute. But on the subject of this, I have managed to find out a little bit about it. It's actually one of those Wade whimsy vintage porcelain figures, and this one apparently comes from the drum box set, and it has a name. She or he is called Jem. Is it Jem? Yeah, it's Jem the tuba player, a Wade porcelain whimsy figurine from the drum box series. So whatever Jem the tuba player was doing down there in the mud, I do not know, but I'm very glad to have rescued him or her. And there's a little space for her just about here, so I will put her there for now. So yeah, the slate object. Now, as you probably could tell, I was quite excited about that. I do love finding something with a name on it, and I had hoped that it was part of an old broken gravestone and that I was going to find a name and I'd be able to research this person and it would be all terribly, terribly interesting. But actually, it's not a part of a gravestone, and I have discovered that it is part of a slate water filter, so not quite as interesting as one would hope, but still, I did find out all about a man named Thomas Sterling. As you can see on this piece of slate, there's just enough lettering to work out that it's Sterling, and then we've got filter, and just in front of that is the ID. And that stands for rapid filter. So it's Sterling rapid filter. So it's Thomas Sterling patent rapid water filters as employed in Her Majesty's Marine Palace, Osborne, and in the mansions and yachts of many of the nobility and gentry. And it was used in the 3 refreshment courts of the Great Exhibition of the works of industry of all nations to filter water for the refreshments of the visitors. Very, very grand here. There's lots of testimonials about these slate water filters. And he also makes and supplies in any quantities other things made of slate. So he does patent refrigerators, ornamental enamelled slate, slate water tanks, slate pickling troughs, slate milk pans, and slate pigs feeding troughs. Recommended for their coolness, sweetness, and cleanliness, each animal's portion of food is kept distinct and is accessible by one only, who cannot see either his neighbour or his neighbour's food. And thus many of those little disagreements which are so common in pig families are avoided. So yes, patent rapid water filters, the simplest, best and most durable filters hitherto invented for the perfect purification of water, whether for domestic use, in private dwellings, or in Her Majesty's Marine Palace. So I learnt something new. I learnt that there is such a thing, or there was such a thing, as a slate rapid water filter. You just never know what you're going to learn when you're down on the Thames foreshore, do you? So what else have we got here? Okay, so let's talk about the Power Ranger who is here, who has been rescued from the clutches of that very odd monster. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. That's very possible, but it did just look a little bit sinister, don't you think? This Power Ranger deliberately tied to that rather ugly homemade monster, or maybe it was children playing around, or maybe it's because I have found a few other odd things in the river, and sometimes you don't know whether it's some kind of curse or a spell or something a little bit voodoo. I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think it was just a child's game? Not a very nice game though, is it? Tying a Power Ranger to something nasty and then leaving it there to be submerged in the water. I suppose, you know, I have found a few odd things over the years. I'm sure many, many mudlarks have. I mean, look at my dog, for example, who's here. And by the way, many of you were worried that he wasn't on the dresser behind me for a while. He went off to have a few repairs, but he's back now in all his glory. And when I first found him, of course, I thought that he was something a little bit sinister, but you know, looks can be deceiving, and actually he's just a rather fascinating piece of art, probably from the Democratic Republic of Congo, with an equally fascinating history and story behind him. So there's him. I've also found a few spells in the river over the years, and I found a Barbie doll with lots of pins in as well, and that was all a bit odd. And I have to admit, I did leave her there. Although I'm not superstitious, I will say I'm not superstitious, but it was just a little bit odd, and I thought, well, I don't really need to bring home a Barbie doll with lots of pins in. And of course, it reminds me as well, this Power Ranger, and he looks like the Red Ranger, reminds me of the message in a bottle I found back in 2012, I think it was. And it was a message from a little boy called Jack, who in his message said, "I wish I was a Dino Thunder Power Ranger, the Red Ranger. Love from Jack Hodges." And I put it on Twitter and it got tweeted out like a virtual message in a bottle. And amazingly, I managed to trace his family. And then I sent Jack a Power Ranger outfit, the red Power Ranger outfit. And he then sent back a photograph of himself in his Power Ranger outfit. Now, of course, that was in 2012. And I think Jack must have been about maybe 8 or 9. So now he's going to be in his 20s, isn't he? So I have thought that it would be kind of fun to get back in touch with some of the people that I've been in touch with through their messages in bottles and meet up with them again and have a chat. And I wonder if Jack still has his Power Ranger outfit. He probably doesn't wear it anymore, I shouldn't think. Well, hopefully not anyway. But anyway, yeah, that's the Power Ranger. So let me know what you think. What you think. Why do you think this Power Ranger was tied to that monstrous thing and left to drown in the river? What else have I got here? We've got this clay pipe. There were a few clay pipes. Got to have a few clay pipes in a mudlarking outing. And this one does indeed have a maker on it. It's J. Kemp from Greenwich. And J. Kemp is James Kemp. And he was making clay pipes in the Greenwich area in the mid-19th century. And I've looked him up and found out a little bit about him. And I know that he also had a son called William, who very possibly also went on to make clay pipes later in his life. There's the very, very worn coin. And I was delighted to see, if you hold it just about in the right light, the very, very barely there, faded portrait of Queen Victoria. And on the other side, you can just about make out the date, and it's 1860 something. So a nice early Victorian coin. worn smooth by thousands and thousands and thousands of tides by the looks of it. Also, this really nice little, well, I think it's a bit of furniture, a furniture fitting or something. Really beautiful. It looks quite old. Maybe it's 18th century. Again, if you've got any thoughts on that, please let me know. And also, I have here this, well, I don't know, maybe it was a brooch. I have managed to unbend it. It's quite bendy. I put it in hot water and bended it. And it's got a few stones in it. I wonder who wore that many, many years ago. Said probably late 19th, early 20th century is my guess. And I have not brought home the cannonball, as I said. I have got my cannonball here from a few years ago, sitting there. It's not in great condition because you really have to soak them for a long, long time to get all the salts out, and I didn't really do it properly, but you can still tell that it's a cannonball. But I thought I'd leave the other one there for somebody else who may really, really want to find a cannonball. I think that is it for my finds. Let me just make sure I didn't miss anything out. No, I don't think I did. And so talking of clay pipes, anyway, later next week, I'm going to see David Higgins, who is one of the founders of the Society for Clay Pipe Research. They have an excellent Facebook site, and you can also join the society for a very small amount of money, and it's worth it if you're interested in clay pipes. But anyway, I'm going to see him, and he's going to show me the process of making clay pipes, because he still actually makes clay pipes in the original way that they were made. So I'm going to film that, and I'm very excited that I'll soon be able to share that with you. So if you've got any burning questions about clay pipes that you would like me to ask David, then please put your questions down in the comments below. And I will ask him, and I'm sure we'll get some very good answers. As you know, it's been VE Day this week, celebrating the 80th anniversary of victory in Europe, the end of World War II. In Europe back in 1945, and I made a little video yesterday about some letters which I discovered in a box. I've got quite a lot of boxes full of letters and photos that I pick up at car boot sales and house clearances and things, and there's some lovely letters in this box written by a father to his son who was in the Navy during World War II in the days that were leading up to VE Day in 1945. So I'll tag this on to the end of the video in case you haven't actually seen the shorts video that I put out yesterday. So I think that's about it really. I'll just finish off by reminding everybody that you do need a permit to mudlark on the River Thames. At the moment there is a very long waiting list. If you go onto the PLA, the Port of London Authority website, you can see details of how you can apply for a permit. And yes, that's about it, I think. I'd like to say, as always, a huge thank you to you all for watching my videos. Thank you very much for all your comments and for the IDs and information that so many of you send to me about my finds. Also, thank you very much indeed to everybody who has donated to my Ko-fi and also to Super Thanks. I really, really appreciate it. And I appreciate each and every one of you. And so until the next time, please go on and have an excellent week ahead. Do something that you really enjoy doing. And I'm sending you lots of love from here in London. And see you very soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Hi everyone, today on the 8th of May 2025 we commemorate the 80th anniversary of VE Day, the end of World War II in Europe. I'm rounding up some of my Thames mudlarking finds which relate to World War II, of which I have many. But in doing so I came across some letters in my possession which were written to a man called John Spears who served in the Royal Navy in World War II. These letters were written to John by his father in the lead up and just after VE Day 1945, and they provide a real insight into what people were feeling and experiencing 80 years ago. April 29th, 1945. My dear John, I wonder if the war will actually come to an end this week. The tentative surrender offer from Himmler seems to point to the end being very near. May the 2nd, 1945. My dear John, is your wireless working all right? We are daily expecting to hear the good news of the end of hostilities. The situation in Germany seems to be getting more complicated every moment. May the 5th, 1945. My dear John, I have been taking down most of the blackout. It was quite uncanny taking it from the window next to the kitchen outdoor, for I had nailed it round the windows, which had remained covered and condemned since the days you were at Torquay. I felt like Alice wondering what was behind the curtain and found that the window was just as I had seen it last. The light came through, the latch worked perfectly. You remember the prophecy which foretold the end of the war for April the 11th, 1945. It has struck me that the figures were probably misinterpreted. They ran as follows. I suggest 16 should be, in this case, interpreted as 6 minus 1 equals 5 equals May. War will end 11th of May 1945, i.e. next Friday. We shall see if that is right. May the 11th, 1945. My dear John, had you been home next Sunday, you and I, you will see from the enclosed cutting, could both have attended the Thanksgiving service at St Mary's in uniform, complete with medals. A unique occasion, one of these very rare military occasions that will probably not occur again unless to mark the end of the war in the East. Love from all. À mardi, your affectionate dad. And the rest is history.